If you guys sell remote controls, I'm sure you're aware of the trick of pointing the remote control at the camera and seeing the little red light in it. That's one way to test a remote control. But how would you test a garage remote opener, a remote that maybe doesn't have that little light bar on it, or even key fobs? Well, you can't test it using your smartphone, but I'm going to show you how in this video. This right here is called a frequency tester, and it can read signals from all different kinds of remote controls, including key fobs and garage remote openers. How this works. So this is going to pick up any signals that are out there. So when we take the key fob and we press it next to the remote, you can see that it gives you whatever signal it's sending out at the time. And then we'll wait. It sometimes picks up signals from outside, so we have to wait until it zeros, but then we can take the garage remote opener, and once again, when I click it, you can see that it's telling me what signal it's throwing out. Even with the remote, if you don't want to use your cell phone camera, you can point that at it. The IA stands for infrared, so that's letting you know that that remote control also works. And then we have a remote here that you wouldn't be able to test using your smartphone, but when you push it here, once again, you can see that it is working. So this tool right here has saved me a lot of time and money, and is definitely worth it. If you're new to the channel, my name is Travis, and I'm a full-time eBay reseller. In this video, I'm going to show you the tools that I use daily that help me save time and money within my eBay reselling business. I'm also going to show you the alternatives to these tools that I used when I was just starting out on eBay and didn't want to invest in these tools. If you're interested in purchasing any of these tools that you're going to be seeing, I'm going to leave a link in the description for links to all the tools that I show in this video. This guy here is called a Scotty Peeler. They make metal ones. I like the plastic as it doesn't damage items as much, but these are great for peeling off thrift store labels or garage sale labels. As you can see here, it can help you peel this off. And I also reuse a lot of Amazon boxes that I get from the neighborhood for free. And it helps peel off the old labels as well if you don't want to have to cover them up. It can kind of help you get right underneath it. The alternative that I used when I was just starting out, my fingernail. Next up is this disc display. When I take photos of video games or DVDs, I like to set the disc right on this display piece here. If it's a video game with a manual, I like to lay the manual out, and then I like to put the case right behind it. I position everything just like that, and then this will be my main photo here. It makes everything look a little bit nicer, and it shows in the first photo that it includes the disc, the case, and the manual. When I was just starting out, I would either just lay the disc here like so, or I would do what everyone else does and just stick the disc in the case. Did you know that I'm creating the ultimate free Bolo list that is updated daily? Hit the link in the description below to find my Bolo Instagram page. Alright, I said I was going to offer alternatives to all the products that I show in this video. This is the one product that I think you need from the start, and it's a shipping scale. If you can't get accurate weights and accurate measurements, you're never going to be able to charge the correct amount for the postage. This is my favorite scale. I've used a few. I like this scale specifically because the head is movable, so if I'm putting a big package on the scale, I can move this out or in or over here so that I can still see the scale readout. This also folds up a little bit here, so if you have a big package that's maybe like flopping down or whatever, you can put them up on here and it will still weigh accurately. The scale is also super accurate, and I've never had any issues with packages not weighing the correct amount. This tool is an air gun, a battery operated air gun. It helps get dust and dirt and debris out of electronics. You can use just your mouth and blow out the electronic. You can also buy canned air, but this has saved me money by not having to go out to the store and buy more canned air. So like on electronic like this, if I had a bunch of dust or something, I can just hit it real quick with the fan. As you can see, it also has a handy light, so you can really see in there, and it also has different attachments that you can put on here for different items. If you've ever been to an estate sale or a yard sale, you know that some items just have a real bad stink to them. So how do I get that stinky odor out of these items? Well, if it's not clothing and something I can just wash, I'll use this GarmaGuard. This works really well. It removes smells from a lot of things. I use it on stinky shoes and backpacks and other items that I wouldn't want to wash. But if you have a really bad odor, I end up having to use this. An ozone machine. Please read up on these. They can be very dangerous if you don't know how to use it correctly and you're in the space when it's being used. So don't just buy one of these and turn it on inside your house. I bought this machine when there was a few children that set a barn on fire in the neighborhood, and the barn smoke filled the whole neighborhood. It also filled my garage, which is where I keep all my inventory. I was worried about my inventory starting to stink, so I ran this every night and it took the smoke smell out of it. It also works well if you bring something home that smells and you didn't realize it smells and it starts stinking up a room in your house or maybe the garage. I'll run this overnight. Once again, use only in unoccupied spaces, and please read up on these. These can be super dangerous. Before I started using the GarmaGuard and the ozone machine, I used dryer sheets. I get the ones that are meant for pet dander because a lot of times you get hair and stuff on clothing from the thrift store, so these help with that. But these also can help remove odor. If you have an item that stinks, put it in a bag, put this inside with it, and within a couple days that smell may go away. That was the alternative I used when I was just starting out. This is a pair of shears. I use these daily. They help with cutting through cardboard and anything else that you might have to cut through. They're so much better than scissors at cutting through cardboard, and they save you a lot of time and energy. When I was just starting out, I would use a pair of scissors, and then I upgraded to a box cutter. Box cutters can kind of be dangerous, and they're not quite as accurate to cut through when you're just cutting down the sides of a cardboard box. These are my favorite. I use them all the time. This is the thermal printer I use. It's just basically a no-name brand on Amazon. I love it. I don't see the reason to spend more money on like a Rolo or anything. This thing works really well. I've had it for 2 years now and I've never had an issue with it. I also like being able to print other labels. So I print little thank you labels that I stick on packages to cover stuff. I like being able to print that on the thermal printer, and overall it saves a lot of money. When I was just starting out, I started just as everyone else did, and I used a normal inkjet printer and I cut the labels and taped them on. But if you're going to be shipping out any amount of packages, getting a thermal printer is one of the first purchases I recommend. If you have a box with an item that doesn't fit, so the item is down in the bottom, let's just say it is that, which I would never ship in this box, but if it was that and you need to cut this box down, I highly recommend getting a box resizer. You can stick this down in here, it adjusts, and what it will do is create a perforation along the box on the inside there, and you do that on all 4 sides. Then you take your shears and you cut down the box to the point where that mark was, and then the box will just fold right in on itself, and you can ship the item out for possibly a cheaper amount if you're sizing the box down to something smaller. When I was just starting out, I would do the same thing, only I would use a razor blade and cut across here, and then I would cut down the side and the box will fold in. This just makes it a lot easier and a little more accurate because you're getting the same exact mark across each side of the box. Guys, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss future content. Also remember, all the links for these items are in the description. I have a love-hate relationship with this. This is the JFJ Easy Pro disc cleaner. I find that it works 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, the disc is just too bad to actually get it cleaned and working again. But this item has taken some discs that otherwise weren't working and turned them into working discs. When you buy it, you get a couple different pads here. I usually, most of the time, I'm just using that one, the white one. Sometimes I end up having to use the sandpaper here if it's really bad. Typically, if it's really bad and I have to use the sandpaper, it isn't coming clean. So you stick the little pad on down here. Up here, you install the disc. Once the disc is installed, you put your polish on the pad here, and then you have different settings to run it. It comes with these awesome instructions. These instructions are awful and they don't really work, so you have to kind of play around with how to get the disc to actually clean itself. Unfortunately, this item is kind of expensive and I'm not even sure I've made my money back on it yet. The alternative I would use when I was buying discs before I had the disc cleaner was I would avoid buying discs that had big scratches on them because I knew that I didn't really have a way to cleaning it. If it had just some dirt and grime on it, or maybe like a few little scuffs or something, you can take a little toothpaste with your finger and you just rub it on the disc and you just kind of polish it that way with your finger. I found that worked maybe like 5% of the time. The disc cleaner is definitely better. It works about 50% of the time. My finger worked about 5% of the time, and I would love to get one of the professional grade ones. Unfortunately, I just don't find enough video games and discs that are worth it in order to make that big investment. This is a fabric shaver, so I'll use this on like wool sweaters and things that have pilling. It has little blades inside, and you can set a different height to it, and then you just run it, and it'll cut all the little pilling pieces off of it. Before I had that, I would just use my fingers and pull the peeling off, and I would use a lint roller and roll the item. I still use a lint roller very often. If you enjoyed this video and you're a seller on eBay, be sure to check out this video here where I explain how I avoid scammers and bad buyers on eBay. Also, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss future content. All links for the products will be in the description.